Hi everybody, what's up? Welcome back to our backend series. In this video, we are going to learn about connecting our project with MongoDB Atlas. So we are going to see how we can do that and achieve the connectivity of database within our backend application. So for doing this, we will be using MongoDB Atlas. So for that, you need to have an account at MongoDB. So how you are going to have it? We will just have a quick look into the tutorial. We will create a cluster, open the link from there and go step by step, slowly and steadily. So for doing that, let's go to Chrome and we will keep in mind about a few things, and then we will learn slowly and steadily. So let's go to Chrome. So I'm in my Chrome browser. So as you can see, Google is open for me. So just a simple search of MongoDB, or say Mongo. So the Mongo, when you write Mongo, the first thing which you get is the official website of MongoDB. So it will take some time to load. So if you can see, it is said that it is loved by developers, built for transaction time series data. So it is actually a NoSQL database. That means the schema is not defined or it is not fixed beforehand. So it can be modified by the developers from time to time. So it does not follow the row column version of the SQL data or the MySQL type of database which you already know, right? So it is a NoSQL type of database. So for that, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. So that's a different topic. So up to now, we have to keep in mind that MongoDB is a kind of NoSQL database. So for using MongoDB in our project, let's go to the products. Inside the products, we have to come to the Atlas place. Okay, this Atlas. So click on Atlas. So we are going to use the MongoDB Atlas. So this will allow us to make read-write operations to the cloud, which is available in some regions or some locations. So how we will do this? We will just come step by step. So once you land up to the Atlas page, this closed everything. Just go on sign in. So once you sign in, you will end up coming over here. Now you have to create your own account and log in as per as that. So in my case, I already have an account, so the views might be different from your and mine. So that's not an issue. So just click on Google and don't just use this email IDs. They are all fictitious. Okay, so I will just blur this place. So once you click on your account, so you will end up with a landing page which will show you something like, just a minute, something like this. So the view may be different for your case. So in my case, I'm just saying this because I already have a previous project. So just click on, you have to just come over here. Okay, click on organization. This is my organization, Siddharth's organization. As you can see, come over here and hit new project. Now you have to name your project, give a good name so that it's easier for you to remember. So just give a good name for your project. So let us be to-do list application. Since my application is of to-do list application, so for me it will be to-do list. Okay, then you have to leave everything empty over here. Just click on next. Next, you have to click on select an owner for this project if you want to add some owners, but this is not necessary for the time being. If you want to add some of your friends, you have to mention their email ID in this place. So this is not important. Just create the project and it will take some time to provision the clusters available, and it will give you this landing page. Now once this is done, you have to click on create a cluster. Now once you're creating a cluster, you are actually creating or allocating or accessing some location or some space from the database which is owned by MongoDB. So from here, you have to see that there are three types of plans available: M10, serverless and M0. In our case, we will be using the M0 one, which is free. So I will just shift my video this side, right? So once you click on M0, say it's saying that free. Give a name to your cluster. I'm keeping it as default settings. Now over here, you have to select a provider. Now MongoDB is not actually a provider of the cloud. It internally uses some of the cloud providers like the AWS, Google Cloud and your Azure. So anything you can select, but that's up to you. Anything will work just fine. both the three, all the three which are given over here are great players of the cloud available. So let me choose AWS for the time being, and here you have to select a location which is closer to you. Okay, now in my case Mumbai is a place which is closer to me, so for that reason I will select Mumbai, or if Bangalore is present, Bangalore will also work fine. Now since I have Mumbai, so AWS Mumbai will be fine for me. Since you can select Google also, and you can find Bangalore over there, so that should be also good for you. Now once this is done, leave everything aside and just click on create deployment. So this will take some time to provision the database for you, and once this is done you will end up seeing this. Right, now now let's bring this thing aside. Right, now once you come up with this place, just you have to do nothing, just click on choose a connection method. So it is saying that you have to add a security permission below. Okay, so here you have to pick an username, so I'm putting as Siddharth, and just 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 as the password. Now this is not a good password. If you need to have a really strong password, you need some hashing parameters, so that's up to you. But since I'm just teaching this and not for production this thing, so just take a fictitious password and fictitious username, but make sure you remember this. If you forget any of this, you will not be able to read or write data to your database. So just keep in mind that my username is Siddharth and my password is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So just write it somewhere so that you can find it accessible the time when it is required. So just now choose a connection method. Once you choose a connection method, it is saying us to choose the security permissions in the first step. Okay, so let's see what is the security permission it's asking. Okay, it will give me something like this. This is not important, I guess. Okay, so let us give 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 as the password, and then let us choose a connection method, and then we will come up with this drivers and all this place. Now here we have to select drivers. Now once you select drivers, over here come and select Mongoose and click on the latest version only, and the thing which is I'm looking for is I'm going to find out the URL. So I'm not getting the URL. Just wait for a timing. So it's giving me the URL. So let's wait for some time. So the cluster is provisioning actually. Yeah, so I have my user database now, database link. So I can use this to connect to my MongoDB. So just go back, click on drivers once again. This is my URL which is going to be needed for connecting with the Mongoose, and that's all. We will just now copy this, and we will copy this link, go to our code base and connect to our MongoDB instance using Mongoose. So let's go to our code editor now. So once you end up coming into this place, the next thing which you need to do is click on connect over here. So once you click on connect, it's saying that connect to cluster 0. Now here what you have to do is you have to create an user along with its password. So let me create the user as Siddharth, and the password will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, now click on create database user. So it's saying that password is too weak. Okay, let me change it to set it 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so let's create now. So once my user is created, using this user I will be able to access the database and create CRUD operations on them. So click on choose a connection method. Now since I'm using Mongoose as an ODM to connect with this MongoDB, so click on drivers, select Mongoose, click on the latest version which is available. Now here I have the link which will allow me to connect to my cluster. All right, very good. So let's copy this, and now it's time that we should go to our code base, and at this point of time we can connect to our MongoDB and we can store data to them. Okay, so I am in my code editor. So if you remember that this is the model which we created in the previous video. So how to connect to your database? Go to the index.js and you have to write some code. Now, a very important point which I would like to tell you that every time you connect to the database, you have to remember that your database is located in some different city or some different country or some different continent. So every time you make a request for reading something, writing something or updating something to your database, there will be some time difference of the request to be processed by the database and the response to be served to you. So this time difference you have to handle using the asynchronous nature of the JavaScript. If you do not use this, you will get some sort of ransom output and you will be having some buggy code. So for that, you will always have a need to wrap your database connectivity code inside the async await, which will allow you to wait for the response from the database every time you make a request. Point number one. Now, point number two is very important, that every time you're connecting to database or writing some of the other code to the database, there is always some possibility of some error happening. So for that, to handle that, it's necessary or it's important perhaps to wrap the entire database code inside some try or catch block. Now with all these things keeping into consideration, we will now connect with our database. So I am in my index.js, if you can see. So here the first thing which I need to do is I will import mongoose from mongoose. Okay, now I have to store the database URL here, db URL equal to, just paste the URL. Now keep in mind that here we have to write the password. Just replace this thing with password, SIDD 12345. Okay, let me zoom out a bit. Okay, now I have my password. Okay, now I will make a function which will allow me to connect to my database. So const connect db equal to async. Why async await? Because my database is located in some other continent, so there I have to wait for the response from the database to come. So I'm using the asynchronous nature of JavaScript. So async. Okay, then within a try and catch block, I will have to write the things. Try and then catch. Why try and catch? Because to handle the errors, I need to use try catch. So for doing that, just write const response equal to await, since I am awaiting to connect to the database, mongoose.connect, and the db URL which you just mentioned over here. Just put this thing inside. Now once this is done, you are expected to get some response from the database after the connectivity is successful. So you may need to just console log the response which you get from the database. So it will log that MongoDB is connected, and it will give some connection host as output if it is connected successfully. If my connection is not successful, let me just log the error like console.log error. Okay, now this function is not active, so I will just call the function connect sorry for the typo, connect db. Right, so once this is done, I can say my database is connected successfully. So let's see by just starting this in the new terminal, and let's see what is the response we are getting from the database. Now there is some modification which you need to do in this code. I will just come to that in just a moment. So let's write npm start. So it's saying that to-do list, it's starting. Now our MongoDB is connected successfully, and this is my cluster ID, or you can say the host name. I'm sorry, just a minute. Let's come to terminal. Yeah. So this is my cluster host name, to which I can make the read or write operations. As simple as that. Now this is not a professional way of storing the URL directly inside your code, because when you will push this code to your GitHub, you are actually exposing this code to a public forum, right? So this is not a good practice to just expose your URL to a public forum or GitHub like that. So developers found out a way to hide this, or there was a predefined way to hide this, which I have not revealed up to now, which is the use of .env. So what is .env? Let's go and do some research. Okay, so just come to this place of Google and just Google up what is .env. Okay, right, .env. Okay, so the first website from npm which you get is the website we need. So let's shift my camera for the time being to this site. Yeah, so .env is saying that warp is a basically first. Okay, so .env is a zero dependency module that loads environment variable from a env file into our project, into process.env. Now what is process.env is that it will supply us with the environment variable. It's an internal feature of Node.js. Okay, so it is saying that this is the way how you install the .env, and this is how you can access the env files, env keys, that is the environment variables and the API keys, and these are all the stuffs which are mentioned over here. So let us come up from the basics about, let's start with the installation of .env. So the first thing, that is npmi.env. So what we'll do is, what is our target is actually, we will not write this URL directly inside this code space like this db URL. What we'll do is, we will write a .env file. We will import this URL from that .env file into our code base, and while pushing the code to GitHub, we will just ignore the .env file so that it is not pushed into the GitHub. So in other words, it will not be available for the public use. So let's terminate this first. Okay, our terminal is terminated. Let us just install npmi.env. Okay, so it is saying that added one package. Very good, well enough. Now let's write the .env file. So how you write? Just press a dot and then env. Once you write over here, you have to just copy the MongoDB URL, just Ctrl+X, just remove this and come to URL, then you write mongo_URL, right? Then plus equals, and then like this. Okay, I hope you have to put these things in quotes, right? Now once this is done, you have to now import the file .env, and then you can access the database URL. So how to import that? Just go to the Chrome once again and see the docs. So once you don't know anything, it's obviously it will not know anything, everything inside the backend. So you need to follow the documentation. So let's go to the docs. It says that come down. So to use this, since we are using the module.js approach, not the common JS approach, so we will import .env/config. Just copy this. Okay, just go to our code editor. Yeah, so just paste the line, right? So how we will fetch the DB URL now? So const DB URL will be now equal to process.env.mongo_URL. Okay, that is what I have written here, right? Mongo URL, just copy and paste it over here. Okay, now I hope the things will work fine as of now. Otherwise, I will just have to remove the quotes from here if I'm not correct. So in that case, I have to remove the quotes from here. I'm sorry for that. So let's go to a terminal now. Just write npm start and let's see whether our connection is successful or not. So once you go to npm start, it is saying that yeah, our connection is successful. We have been able to connect to the MongoDB database. So that's all. That's how you connect your local code base to the MongoDB cluster. And from now on, our MongoDB, our cloud, we have our storage database in the cloud. And using this feature or this MongoDB, we can read, write data from the cloud and access them and store them. So what is the purpose of using MongoDB? Now, as we are making a to-do list application in our project, so we will store the username, user email, user password, and the user collection which we have made as the inside the MongoDB database, the to-dos of the user will also be stored in the to-do collection of the MongoDB database. Now once that is done, we can use this MongoDB from our database to fetch the users, to fetch their to-dos, and like this we can come up with a full stack application. So now that is done, I will end this video up to now. In the next video, we will learn about how can we write controllers, which is very important, about how we can define the logic from where the user, how the user account will be created, how the passwords will be stored, how the to-dos will be stored, how the to-dos will be created. So all of that and more, I will see you in the next video. So stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be a very interesting video. We will learn how can we store passwords also in database, because we cannot directly store the password as it is. There needs to be some hashing to the password so that it can be stored more efficiently, so that if anyone gets access to the database also, he or she will not be able to have knowledge about the passwords since they are hashed. So all of that and more, I will see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep exploring.